Hello and welcome everyone. Hope you are doing great. Today we're going to talk about clash detection in Navis 2026. First off, guys, you need to be familiar with the concept of a clash matrix table. In this table, the priority of the clashes is specified. For example, a clash might be quite critical or important. These are the ones I would call hard clashes. Another information that we can get out of this table would be how to solve a clash. For example, for a specific clash, you might need clearance. Not only you need to get rid of the collision in between the items, but also you need to put a specific distance in between them. For example, the water valves should be set within a very specific distance from the objects next to them. And well, there are some objects, some items that clash detection won't be quite required or, well, necessary. It's better to say necessary. It won't be quite necessary for them. Now, the critical clashes are being indicated with H, as in hot clash. Then we got C for soft clashes, and C stands for clearance. And we also talked about those clashes that aren't really important or critical. And these are the clashes that are being specified through NA, not applicable, as you can see down here. So basically, for a clash detection process, we need some sort of a pattern based on which we can find out, for example, that the clashes in between ceilings and curtain panels are hard clashes. Same goes for curtain wall mullions, guys. Or for example, clashes in between ceilings and special equipments, or ceilings and framing. All of these are examples of hard clashes. But the clashes in between ceilings and doors is not critical, so it says NA. Same goes for ceilings and floors, ceilings and railings, so we don't really have to go through the clash detection for these objects. Now, the clashes in between columns and ceilings won't be important, but columns and, curtain panels is very important, hard clashes. Same goes for columns and doors. Again, columns and floors, not important. Again, hard clashes for columns and railings, and basically the pattern, the standard goes on, and based on which we can specify the type of our clashes and go through the clash detection. As for another example, take a look at the clash in between ducts and ceilings. We got clearance 50 millimeters. So not only we need to get rid of the collision in between the objects, but also we need a specific distance in between them, more precisely 5 cm distance. And as I said, this is what we call the soft clash. As for another example for soft clashes, we can point out the clash in between pipings and roofs, guys. Same as before, we got clearance 50 millimeters. How about the clash in between the pipes themselves, guys? Well, again, we need clearance 15 cm of distance. You know what, now that I mentioned this, guys, remember, not all the time the clash detection would be in between two different disciplines or items. For example, when we are working with an MEP discipline, guys, the clash detection in between the objects themselves is very important and critical. As an example, the clashes in between the pipes could be quite critical, or the clashes in between the ducts. Alright guys, after gaining this, you can say rudimentary knowledge regarding clash detection and its required standard and pattern, we can actually go through a clash detection process. So let's do it. Alright guys, I've opened up this project, and according to its selection tree here, we got mechanical, architectural, structural, and electrical items. So all the main disciplines, you can say. I'm going to hide the architectural items, and this will be the result. Okay, let's go back to Clash Matrix. Guys, let's begin the process by going through the clashes in between framings and ducts. First off, guys, in this table, all the disciplines are completely divided. See, all the main disciplines and their related items that we might actually use within a project are completely divided and categorized here, both horizontally and vertically. Now, as I said, the first clash that we want to go through would be in between framings and ducts. So, from structure, we can find framing here. And then down here from the HVAC discipline, we can find ducts. What kind of clash we got here? A hard clash. Alright, now that we have this information, let's go back to Navis and continue the rest of our work. Now, the first thing that we need to do here would be opening the Clash Detective palette. Don't really need the selection tree anymore, so I'm just going to close it down. Alright, up here I'm going to click on Add Test. What were the objects, guys? Again, framings and ducts. So, from name here, I'm going to do a right click, rename. And in here, I'm going to put down ducts and framings. Alright, so we got the name. Now we need to start the clash detection process itself, guys. Take a look at this. Here we got select. Now, we actually got several ways for selecting the required objects, and the worst one would be looking for them from their disciplines. I mean, we can just click, for example, on one of the disciplines and try looking for the items here. Yeah, so as I said, this will be the worst way, and the best way would be creating a selection set first, for example, for the ducts, and then we can do the same for the framings. Now, back in the previous versions, guys, I mean versions prior to Navis 2026, we would have done this using the Find Items tab. First, we needed to specify the category, then the property, then in the next step, we needed to define some sort of a condition, and then at the end, a value. And if you weren't able to find the required item here, we would have just clicked on this item. So you get a full list. And the item that I want here would be structural framing. Find all. This way, all the structural framings would be selected. We can click on Save Selection and specify its name. By the way, guys, when we create a selection set, we would have access to it from the Select tab here. And now I can, for example, easily use this selection set as the first object for my clash detection. Now, in Navis 2026, guys, we would still be able to use the Find Items tab, but there's an easier way, a faster way. Shall we talk about it? Let's go then. Guys, during the project, we might select, for example, one of the ducts, regardless of the type. For example, it could be a rectangular one, a circular one, doesn't really matter which. Either way, after selecting the duct, guys, from elements here, you can actually check its category. See, obviously it says ducts. Now, let's do a right click on the category here and select Create Search Set, guys. And, well, that would basically be all. That's it. You have your required selection set without going through any steps, without using Find Items. And it took us, oh, how long? Like maybe a few seconds. Remember though, guys, when you're trying to use objects such as ducts and pipes for your clash detection, you need to select the fittings as well. So, let's try selecting one of the fittings here, guys. And again, the type is not really a factor here. Anyway, again, right-click and select Create Search Set. See, this way, this method is extremely fast. Alright guys, we got the required objects for the clash detection. Now, from selection A, select the first set, which will be the framings. And then from the selection B segment, we need to select the ducts and their fittings. Now, before moving on, guys, remember, if you're an old Navis user, try to get used to using this new feature. It's awesome. Anyway, guys, let's continue our work. Let's see what other steps we need to take for the rest of the process. Back here again, according to this table, we're dealing with a hard clash, okay? So, back in Navis, down here we got type. We need to set this on hard, and we actually have two options, and I don't really recommend going with hard conservative, because the whole process, the clash detection, will be done quite severely. Like, for example, even the door frames might be detected as clashes. After specifying the type, guys, we need to specify a tolerance. In other words, how much interaction, how much collision should actually be considered as a clash. For example, I would tolerate like 1 cm of interaction. Guys, honestly, this tolerance is something that you need to specify yourselves. I mean, as a manager or even a user. Now, take a look at this tab, Rules. Here, you would be able to specify what kind of clashes you actually want to ignore. And if you want to, for example, you can select the clashes, specify the clashes from the same layer, same group, same file or discipline to somehow be ignored in the during the clash detection process. All right, back here again and click on Run Test. As you can see, guys, we got 27 clashes. Now, in the next step, we need to find out how exactly we would be able to check or analyze all of these clashes in Navis, and also how to create a report out of them or based on them. Alright, take a look at this, guys. From display settings, we have access to some modifying items and settings, and not all of them are important or complex, but there are some important items. For example, guys, currently some of the items here are being displayed with some sort of a transparency to them. But if I deactivate this item, transparent dimming, as you can see, the clashes won't be displayed anymore, guys. So to put this simply, always leave this item activated. And also, if you deactivate this one, well, again, we'll get nothing. No transparency, no gray items, nothing. Right, another useful item here would be Hide Other. Using this one, we'll only get a view on the collided objects. See? Yeah, this is quite useful, guys. You can use it for further checking or closer analysis regarding the objects, or even when you want to select the objects more easily. I mean, obviously, when we hide the other objects, as you can see, selecting these two would be quite simple. So yeah, guys, these would be some important and useful items that we got here. Let's see what else we have. Down here, we got Viewpoint. Very important. Guys, let's say we want to move in between the clashes. The thing is, it somehow jumps in between them, as you can see. Problem is, we might not really understand where the clashes are exactly located. So, I'm going to activate Animate Transition. Let's see what's going to happen now. See, guys, instead of jumping to the next clash, we would move towards it. And obviously, this way you can understand where exactly you got the clashes. And also, guys, if we change this from auto to manual, after moving towards another clash, it won't be focused on it. We need to do the whole zooming or focusing process ourselves manually. But, well, why should we do this? Just leave this on auto. Okay, that will be all regarding the important items in display settings. Next up, guys, we need to try to specify a clash detection status. For example, let's say I'm checking this clash and I would find out that this is actually a critical clash. So I'm going to set this or leave this on new. Then I'm going to try assigning it to someone, like for example, a group, maybe MEP. So right click here and assign. Now assign to MEP. And then we can also leave a note. For example, please review this clash. And now we can assign this. Afterwards, someone from the MEP team would open up the file, go through the assignment, and then they might or even would leave you a note in the description as well. Like some sort of an answer or feedback or something like this. And now, guys, let's say the assignment is finished. You can change up your status. I mean, currently this is set on new. You can open up this list and instead of new, select resolved. Right, guys, now let's say we're checking the next clash and this is not that important. It's not a critical clash. So as for status, we can go with review, guys. I mean, the clash was reviewed and it wasn't important. So you know what, guys, to put this simply, through a status, you would actually be able to, well, somehow give your opinion regarding a clash. As for another example, let's say you're checking this one and you would realize that this is actually okay. I mean, the clash is exactly what it should be. So we can just set this on approved. Well, as a result of this status, guys, other team members, other users would have realized that this clash doesn't really need any further checking. It's completely alright. And guys, pay complete attention when you want to approve something because you would in fact be indicated as the approver. So guys, again, we got resolve as in the clash, the problem is solved. Also review, as in the clash has been checked out, then approved, meaning that there's no problem here. And we also got active. Let's say, for example, this clash has been indicated as a resolved one, but after a recheck, you would realize that this is not the case. So you would set its status on active. So yeah, guys, basically this is what you can do using status, and if needs be, you can also leave some notes in the description regarding the clashes. Now guys, a very important part of our work would be creating a report based on the clashes. For doing so, here we got report. Let's click on it. Now, first off, guys, from contents, we need to specify exactly what kind of data and information we want our report to contain. As you can see, guys, here we got a list containing items, parameters, factors that we can basically mention in our report. Yeah, basically here we can specify the information that we want to have in our result. Next up, guys, on this side, we would be able to specify what kind of or what type of clashes we want to have in our report. I mean, status-wise. Now, usually the options that make sense here would be either the active ones or the new ones. Well, I mean, when you think about it, we don't really need to mention the other types within our reports. But, well, let's say we want to send the report to the manager and we want the manager to know who, for example, well, approved the clashes. In that case, we can select approved as well. So what I'm trying to say here is that this is optional. Alright guys, down here we got report type. As you can see, there are several options. For example, all tests. I'm talking about all the tests, all the clash detection processes combined together. Or for example, only the current one. Well, I mean, let's say for example, we got several tests here, guys. And now we're trying to create a report. Do we want only the first one, I mean the ducts and framing, or we want all of them? Oh, and also, guys, if you go with all, you actually have some further options. You can either combine all the tests into a single report, or you can create separate reports for all the tests. Now, again, guys, this is kind of optional, but usually we would go with the separate option. Anyway, guys, obviously, I'm going to go with current test. Okay, let's talk about format. First thing that catches our eye is the fact that we don't have any PDF format here. See? No PDF format, even no JPG. Instead, we got HTML, XML, and also as viewpoint. Now, if you go with this one, the last one as viewpoint, the clashes would actually be saved within Navis itself inside the view tab here. In other words, for each clash, you'll be getting a separate view. Now, using XML, we'll be getting some data, but the most useful and important options here would be either HTML or HTML tabular. Why these two are important? Because later on, we would be able to convert them into PDF. And the difference in between these two would only be graphical. Don't worry, we're going to try both of them, actually. So let's begin with HTML, specify a location, and save. Now, the reporting process might take a few seconds based on the number of clashes. I mean, more precisely, it would vary based on this number. All right, let's try the other option now. HTML tabular. Let me just add a T to the name here. All right, take a look at this, guys. Here we got a web page. When I open this up, I'll be presented with this report containing a list of clashes and also all the specified data and information. How about the other one then? Well, let's take a look at it, guys. And honestly, in my opinion, this is better. I mean, it's more organized and we got better graphics. Now, guys, what if we wanted to have the same report but with a JPG format? Well, basically, we don't really have to do anything because automatically we'll get this folder containing all the images of all the clashes within our file. So yeah, this is another feature that you can easily use in case, for example, in case you didn't want your report to contain any information, only images. Now, as for another thing, guys, let's say we actually want a PDF format. Well, this is not that big of a deal either. When you open up the report, press Ctrl P, and then you can easily use one of the softwares that would create a PDF format for you. And well, this way you would easily and well quite rapidly be able to create a PDF file for your clash detection reports. Alright guys, we're done with our session. Hopefully you've enjoyed everything. And remember, if you want to learn more about such processes and the entire Navis software altogether, you can check my course through the link in the description. See you guys next time.